Our conquering Mega Eagle! Hi folks, how you doing? Today, mighty crane build, I don't know, part 4, 5, 4, I think, maybe 5, who knows. You probably do, I'll probably put it in the title to be honest. So, we built a frame for the crane, motive power plant, yeah, made some nice pulleys up, and that's about it so far I think, so maybe this is part 4. So now the only bit that's left is the winching operation, yeah. So because it's got two things it's got to lift. It's got to lift concrete pipe sections, and it's also got to run the mucking out bucket of the digging operation. So the mucking out bucket, that's got to be able to come up and down the shaft, and then the winch drum itself has got to be able to slide along the crane and then drop it into the dump truck, yeah. The concrete pipe lifting, that can be fixed to the A-frame, because the whole A-frame is going to move, pick the concrete pipe up and then move back to the shaft and dump the concrete pipe on top of the other one and then stay where it is and do the mucking out procedure. So that means the winch has got to be able to slide along the crane. And in this episode of Mighty Crane Build, we're going to build the carriage, if you like, that's going to run underneath the I-beam crane itself, and that'll have the carriage will have the winch drum and winch gear attached to the back end of it, and also have a double pulley set at the front of it, only using the single pulley for mucking out operations when there's a relatively small lift occurring. And then for the pipe lifting, we're going to have a 2 pulleys top and bottom, so we get a bit of extra lifting power there, yeah. I've got some these are rollers, so they're normally on a sort of an I-beam trolley, if you like. They're nice little wheels, so we're going to use them for the I-beam trolley, as it happens. I did have to pull an old I-beam trolley apart. Bit of a shame. I would have liked to have kept this, but these wheels are too nice to not use them. So this came with the scrap I-beam that I bought. So you know, it doesn't really matter anyway. Like 50 quid's worth of I-beam. That was a good deal anyway, and this was a freebie. So yeah, whatever. And also for the winch drum will build out of gas bottles or something like that. And then I've got the start of a gearbox. This is a 50-to-1 reduction box by Bonfiglioli. Okay, I got this very cheap off eBay. I would have rather had 100-to-1, but I'm going to have a 2-to-1 externally now, to get the speed down a bit and the power of the winch up. We're going to use a strimmer engine to power this thing, but we'll save that till the next episode, because I'll have to build a reverse gearbox in between that. The whole point of using a gearbox like this, this is a worm drive for anyone who doesn't know. So there's basically a screw at the top here, and I'm trying to think of an example. I can't think of an example. Either way, this eliminates the need for any sort of ratchet, because the output shaft can only turn if the input shaft is turned, yeah. So that makes it very, very suitable for a powered winch. You see, like boat winches and stuff, they always have to have a ratchet on them, don't they? But we avoid the need for a ratchet, and the ratchets have their own problem. It's very hard to disengage the ratchet and lower something down, isn't it? You generally have brakes and things then, as it gets quite complicated. Actually, it's very much more complicated to do it that way than just buying a worm box. Yeah, which is what we're doing. Okay, so carriage. First off, I'm gonna have to turn up some stubs for these to sit on. These are circlipped into place, and I'll make some stubs up at a 30mm stock or something like that, something nice and chunky, and then the back ends of those welded on some U's, some big U's, and those U's will support the It'll all work out. Just trust me.
Having two people each with a key to a different lock, or each with a different PIN code, both of which must be used in tandem, is called the two-man rule, and represents a different kind of security.
Let me know what you think of it and our current situation. Anyway, enough of that. Let's take a look at a couple of clips from the segments in question, and I will give my thoughts on them.
Morning to you, Ian. So the opposition from this group of Conservatives, first of all, seems to be for...
Yeah. Well, let me just put it this way. I think it's something like globalism or internationalism is the idea that an international organization, particularly the UN, has any legitimate authority anywhere on the world. In my view, I'm an anti-globalist, and what that means is that the UN has no legitimate lawmaking authority at any place in the known universe. And it's basically as simple as that.
And this is distinct from globalization as a phenomena, which is basically the idea that trade is international. This is a different thing. And that has not come without its problems either, right? But it's a different phenomena from globalism, which is this belief of a kind of, international government in a way, or international cooperation.
Globalism is the idea that the UN has legitimate authority.
Really enjoying spending a bit of time with the disc cutter these days. If anyone wants to see me try and make a knife with that, then leave a comment. I think it'd be fun. Alright then folks, let's talk about circles, yeah, because it's very useful and everyone should know this, but you know, working your way around a bolt pattern just with a kid's compass. I've got my centre marked out here. I'll put a centre punch in there. It's easiest to centre punch things when you're working with steel, because that gives the compass somewhere to sit, doesn't it? And then the first ring, that's the bore of my hole. So I'm gonna have to make a hole that follows this first line. Yeah, and then the second ring, that's the centre of my bolt pattern. Yeah, so I've got M8 bolts, and I just threw a couple of bolts in the bolt holes, and then measured to the sides of the shanks on those bolts, subtracted 8, and that's the distance, as in 8mm, because they're M8 bolts, and then halved it, and I could make a circle, and that circle should coincide with the centre of the bolts. Yeah, we got 8 bolts evenly spaced, so we now need to find our points. 8. Okay, so everyone knows 6 is easy. If you want 6, what we'd do now is just set the compass to the diameter of the circle. Yeah. I'll tell you what, we'll do it on this inside one, so don't make a mess of the outside one, because we need the. We can just work around the outside. One mark there. One mark there. One mark there. One mark there, and that's given us 6 points. This is very handy. It's exactly the same as the radius of the circle, yeah, between each of the 6 points. But 8 is a little bit more difficult. What we have to do first is put a right angle. If we get 4 first, 4 points, 4 equally spaced points. That'll get us on the right track. So yeah, we'll make the we want to bisect the centre of the circle. I believe that's what it's called, the mathematical term. So what we're going to do is take the compass. We've already got the outside of a circle, and I've made two points here, 2 centre punches here, because they're points that I'm going to have to drill eventually. So it doesn't matter how much you open the compass up, but you know, an amount. You want to open the compass up an amount, and I'm just going to make an arc that goes all the way past the centre, and the same again here. Oh, and look at that! These two arcs that I've made on opposing sides of the circle intersect. It's all geometric talk, folks. Eh? You're not cool unless you know your geometry. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know how much maths from school everyone remembers, but like geometry is the bit of school maths that I've found most useful in life. You know. Anyway, so now we've got 4 points. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So now we want to find the halfway point in between one of these points. Yeah. One of the 4 points. And we're going to do the same thing there. We're going to bisect. This is what we could do with a bit of a. Let's put you on the workbench. Then you'll be able to see. I'm quite tempted to do a working with circles. Working with circles. Oh yeah, just zoomed right in, like you see every single pore in my face. Away. Alright, yeah, I'm working with circles there. I'm just adjusting the tripod traps. Mrs. is going to shout me for my dinner soon. That'd be nice. I'm quite hungry. I'm out in the freezing cold shed all day. Maybe I need to cut this out of the video. No one needs to see me adjusting a tripod today. Okay, you're on the workbench. You're not doing any hammering, so yeah, this should be should be a little bit better with any luck. With the light behind the camera, I think you're going to be able to see things a little bit better. No, pencil marks on red oxide. This is not a good way of doing things, is it? I can see it. I can see it just fine, chaps. But can you see that? Yeah, you can just about see. You can't really see it well enough. Let me show you on a bit of paper. Okay, so Jimbo's masterclass in working with circles. All right, let's make ourselves a circle. This is just a demonstration. I just feel strongly about the fact that people should know how to work with circles. All right, so that's my circle, and I'm going to pretend I don't know the centre. Yeah. So how do we find the centre of the circle? I mean, I can see the point the compass made there. What? Yeah, let's find the centre, and we'll reset this compass because we don't know the diameter. We're just going to make one arc, yeah, and then we're going to put the compass where that arc crosses over our original circle. Then we're going to do another arc, and look at that, these two arcs cross. We'll do the same again over here, yeah. Whoop. And then put the compass where that one crossed, and whoa! Oh, we haven't quite made that one long enough, have we, chaps? All right, so now we've got those two little weird. Look, kind of looks a bit Mickey Mouse-ish, doesn't it? We do need a ruler for this, just to make our lines nice and straight. And then either way, we can draw across like that. And then cross like that, and where these two lines cross is the centre of the circle. Yeah, alright, pretty handy stuff, isn't it? But then once we have the centre, we can do a bunch of other exciting stuff, can't we? So we'll start again, just to make things clearer. Let's zoom out a touch. Have we zoomed in too far? Whoa, wait. Alright, so let's 6 is easy. Everyone knows 6. 6 we don't even need the centre. Well, we do need the centre because we need the radius. So leaving the compass at the radius, you just work your way around. Yeah. Crazy old thing, isn't it? Like how the radius is 6 perfect points. So that's just using the radius, and with that, you know, we could easily mark out a 6-point bolt pattern or something like that. But you know, I'm working on something with 8 points at the minute. So how do we do 8? 8's a lot more fun, yeah. So let's just go around all that, and let's just assume that we found the centre of the circle. I know where the centre is because I just made a little pinhole there with the compass. Yeah, so we've got 8. 8's great. I'm going to use that point there because we need 9 points now, and we want to make a right angle that goes through there. We're going to do 4 first, 4 points first. And we bisected that line, yeah. I mean, you can put a right angle on any line doing this. Doesn't have to be inside a circle. Doesn't have to be inside a circle, does it? Okay, so that's that bisected. And now we want to find the midpoint in between these 2 points. Yeah? So bring it in a bit. But what the compass is set to doesn't matter here, but you know, you make it as large as possible, you'll be as accurate as possible. Okay, I think you can probably tell what's going to happen now. I'll just put this ruler in line with those points. Okay, we've made one of our bisections, and now we can either do exactly the same between these 2 points, or we could bisect that line, but I've got the compass set already, and it's easiest just to mark that off. Boom! 8 points. Yeah, it looks a bit messy there, doesn't it? We've got all our markings out. But, you know, hopefully you learned something. You know, people can perhaps use this video as reference if you're ever trying to match bolt holes up. What do you do with other numbers? Well, 5. I've never had to do 5, you know. Obviously 3 is easy because you just do the you just do your 6 points, but only use half of them. Yeah. So that one, you know, we'll just use this, this, and this, and what? So a multiple of 2, piece of cake. Multiple of 3, piece of cake. How do we find 5 though? Yeah, that's where it gets a little bit tricky. How would you do 5? I don't even know, folks, so I'm going to stop talking now anyway. So that's 2 and 3 covered. Multiples of 5, I don't know, your guess is as good as mine. I suppose you'd go 10, and 10 would be easy enough, and then work your way backwards. But that's, you know, that's for another day perhaps. I actually know what I'm talking about. But there you go. 4, 8, 6 and 3, and that'll have most of your bases covered, won't it? Alright.
Free. With the 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk in trying it out. So yes, to date, SpaceX has sent almost 900 Starlink satellites into orbit, and now quickly approaching that 1,000 mark. So much closer to a minimum deployment amount of 14 satellites for 100% global coverage. There was a little time devoted to talking about the public.
Okay, so I think we've got all the main components of this cut out now. This is the upper piece. We're going to have a wheel there and a wheel there, and they're going to run along the I-beam. So these are the main side plates. They're going to be tied together with 20mm solid bar going here, here and here. That hole is for a pin, a removable pin, because we're going to have 2 pulleys side by side here. Normal operation with the muck bucket, we're only going to use 1 pulley, and then when I want to lift up the heavy pipes, this gets locked in place. I can take the pin out and sling the cable around another time, so we'll get a bit more advantage, and then they're going to be tied together with another solid lump of 20mm going in the bottom there. Yep. At the back, got the worm drive mounted on a side plate. This side plate's going to go on here. Then we'll have the winch drum on top here, and this piece will support the other side of the winch drum, and this will have to be bolted onto the side plate, yeah, because we've got to have one side removable so we can get the drum on and off. I think that's the easiest way of doing it. Well, that's how I'm doing it anyway. Okay, so what now? I've got to make the bearing for this side, then we'll weld it all together and put the bars in. Then I'll have to put the axle in here to get this piece lined up. then make the holes through to this piece, because the axle coming out of this motor wants to be nice and straight, doesn't it? So, or in line at least with the other bearing. So that's what we'll do. First we'll make the second bearing for the drum. Because it's going to be turning really slowly, I think a greased plain steel bearing will be our best bet there for reliability and ease of making the thing in the first place. Yeah.
Hostilities broke out between Leopold's mercenaries and the Zanzibari Arab slavers, with the former masking the conflict as a humanitarian endeavor to end into the fighting. The Congo-Arab War resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of Congolese and the permanent expulsion which degraded the soil and resulted in widespread famine. With millions of refugees going about, diseases ranging from smallpox and sleeping sickness to syphilis and gonorrhea increased across the area. In some districts, dysentery and malnutrition alone would cause the deaths of up to 60% of the population. The demographics of the Congo was so radically altered that Lingala, a language previously confined to the mouth of the Irubu River, emerged as a common tongue. Imagine, for instance, how dreadful.
It's quite expensive for a 10-year-old, even though it is a good one. But it took me a long time to get sort of used to that. I hadn't followed that set for a few years, sitting on it definitely.
Centralised power and say, right, all fucking 50 states are doing exactly what I tell you. But he didn't do it because he isn't a fucking fascist. Like, he didn't want to tell him to say that he is. But what I'm saying is, in the same way, Obama wasn't some sort of communist fucking commander-in-chief, because he did allow the states to make their own decisions. And as far, maybe I'm wrong, you might have another opinion with me that really very.
Including the fact that Biden garnered more votes than even Obama did. Sublime unlikelihood. And the sudden and miraculous manner drop of late arriving ballots in the wee hours, which tilted the scale for Biden when the Republican scrutineers had been sent away. Spectator USA soberly lists another 10 factors that it claims make this election highly irregular. And then there is the huge...
Trump would appoint a special counsel. Trump clarifies he would appoint a special prosecutor. But he makes a specific point about what is the difference between a special counsel and a prosecutor? Well, from what I understand, you have the special counsel that basically presents evidence to who then goes through it and maybe does something about it. A prosecutor has
Madness. That's not just a risk of third wave, boys and girls. That's happening. It's happening. It used to happen. You heard it in your class. You have your week off over Christmas, everyone will spread the fucking thing around because it's very, very intense, but not very dangerous. And everyone will put the capital on steps with the numbers, with nature, not how it goes down, just not spread away. People are living through it more often than not. It's bollocks. It's called the bollocks, but cowardice, craven, self-serving cowardice rules the UK government. Every strike, I'm not picking the Tories, seems like Labour and the fucking Greens and the SNP's all the arguments and all this fucking crap. So I'm not giving out one back. The entire UK is governed by craven cowards of the worst kind. There is a yellow streak a fucking mile wide running up that albedo jellyfish back, and there is nothing you are to do. Anything that's handling of the pandemic, oh my fucking god, she is a
This is the last 4
Okay, so I've got an axle sorted out for the pulleys. This is a bit of very thick wall pipe, and I used pipe because I wanted to put a couple of grease holes for it. Eventually, after I painted this, I'll put a nipple in the end there so I can grease this on a daily basis. And what? Stick one of our lovely pulleys in the car, and then got a spacer. Don't know why, just felt like the right thing to do. And then another one on top. There we go. And then what? This is just a bit of bar at the minute. I do need a cable guard to stop the cable running over the top of the pulleys there. But I've lost my R-clips. I don't know what I've done with my R-clips. So I'll leave that for now. Either way, those are the two pulleys on the top. Let me give you a better view. Here we go. I might have done a few bits without showing you, I'm afraid. There's a trunnion welded to the side plate there. So that's more or less the same sort of pipe as I used there, and the space is made out of very thick, heavy pipe. In either way, so these pulleys should be. I should be able to get grease on them on a daily basis, which would be good. Make them last longer and cut down on friction. Okay, so that's that bit done. There's not that much else to do. Just got to sort out a drum and another plate on the other side of this gearbox. That gearbox is bolted down. Oh, very nice.
In another quote he said, "It's not like you're going to change my mind. In other words, my mind will not change in 6 months. There was tremendous cheating here. Boxes were brought in. The mail-in vote is a disaster. By the way, if Republicans allow it to happen, you'll never have another Republican elected in the history of this country at a Senate level or at a presidential level. You'll never, or at the House level. Mail-in voting is a total disaster." I think this indicates, number one, that Trump will not concede no matter what happens, even if Biden does manage to cheat his way into the White House and get those electoral votes. He will not, but Trump will not concede. He considers this a cheat, and it was a cheat. The most simple argument, which I think is the most down argument that he also said during the interview over and over again, which is the simplest argument.
By that really long day. The reverse is also true, that being in the crater at the bottom will massively shorten your horizon and thus your daylight hours too, which makes for a very big temperature difference between rim wall peaks, crater bottoms, and general lunar surface. There's obviously no sea level on the moon, not yet anyway. We can take advantage of that temperature difference by using heat engines, solar thermal power, to make some pretty efficient power generators, but more on that later. Now I mentioned what these are like on the equator, but it's different at the poles. As an example, on a sphere that was spinning on the exact same plane as the Sun orbited, no axial tilt, the North and South Pole never actually get dark. There's no rock rotating between you and your light source. Almost everything has an axial tilt, and indeed the Moon has one relative to Earth, which it orbits, and relative to the Sun, which Earth orbits. So the poles of the Moon do get dark. However, you don't need to be up too high there to be sticking up so much that you get constant.
really old extinguisher. Smells of rotten eggs. I didn't want to be near it when it was going off.
All of our various social media forums.
Okay, I'm just chopping out the sides for this winch drum. One of you in the last video when I was making the pulleys asked about this Katsu 8-inch bench shear. I've just had a look on eBay. I can't see this same one sold again now. Like, they all seem to be rectangular handle with you know, with a bolt-on extension and some additional components on the side to keep your sheet from flapping around. This one doesn't appear to be on eBay anymore, but I mean, if you can find it, this one I paid under 40 quid. I can't remember exactly how much, but I got a feeling it had a 5 in it. I think it was 35, which is very, very cheap, because the square handled one that you can buy now is 60 quid. But you know, if you can find this one, there's nothing really majorly wrong with it. Attachment points, I've managed to flex them a little bit now. I've only got, you know, these bolts get in the way of my metal. They're coach bolts, which is why I've got them this way around, because the other side's gripping the wood. But I haven't decided. I'm definitely going to keep it here. But either way, the only real gripe I've got with this thing, and I've only really been working 1.5mm sheet steel, which is, you know, reasonably thick, is this area at the back here. They've had to space the two plates out. This is just two lumps of, you know, 10mm sheet boilerplate or whatever, and this piece here, it's a spacer, obviously, and they've just gas axed it out with and you know, welded it on and left it quite mucky. It's worse on the bottom, if I can show you that. You know, it's knobbly wobbly, so when the sheet comes through it catches there, but easily rectified with a flapper disc and a grinder. You know, I do like buying old stuff, but something like this with cutting blades on it, you know, I don't think you'd even find too many second-hand bench shears for the sort of money I pay for this. And if they're that cheap, they're almost guaranteed to have a completely buggered and abused set of blades on them. You know what I mean? So yeah, this was a gamble, and I'm not saying that everyone you buy is going to be good, because there's a lot of variation in the cheap stuff you get, but this particular one is performing very, very nicely. Yeah, right, okay, back on with the winch drum.
full. And you know, my average post, and this is without being monetized, is with them shadow banning me, I'll usually get 3 million people looking at each of my Facebook posts. So that directs 3 million people to their site where they have advertisement. They earn money. I mean, it's completely parasitic. I think it's just because they decided they're the fact check guys. What we really know is that they're not actually checking facts. They're checking against what they deem to be wrong things, right? And that's mainstream narrative. And you could write something like only women can have birth. Only women can give birth, and you can get fact checked. This guy, John Doe, out in Utah, who disagrees and says men can give birth, and that's enough for them to fact check you and demonetize your page.
I gotta take care of myself. Which is exactly why everybody should get out and buy a brand new Tax the Rich sweatshirt from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. For just $60, you can buy a t-shirt.
Accident or deliberate action, so in ways you'd be trying to make one safe to use. It is also worth remembering, though, that a giant laser in space also has some handy uses, like blowing up incoming asteroids or space junk. Not to mention, it's a great way to push spaceships up to high speeds. So we will also be discussing some of the non-terrestrial uses of power satellites later on, though our main focus is giving energy to orbit. At this point, scale. At present, humanity, all sources combined, at an average power rate of about 18 kilowatts, 18 including solar energy units.
Right. Okay, so we've got the drum is finished, finito. I mean, the whole thing's finished now. I just welded a little cable clamp in there, yeah, and that cable clamp's not got to take the weight of the load. Like, I mean, I want to be in a position where there's always, you know, the cable's always at least 3 winds around the drum. So I'll paint that red or orange or something so it stands out, so I know if it paid out too much line. Basically, I'm just going to throw this all together, and I'll show you what's going on with the whole thing.
Going to table the internal market bill again. Well, not table it, but they're going to return it back to the Commons and send it back to the Lords because they have a majority. This internal market bill is what's going to be overriding the existing withdrawal agreement and the Northern Ireland Protocol, the Irish border issue. So the European Union will be kicking off. So if there's going to be a deal agreed by Sunday or Monday, and if this bill passes, then the European Union could veto the existing deal. So if there's going to be an agreement...
Well, there we go then, folks. This is the carriage, the winch carriage, with the winch drum and a double pulley there. Well, pulley block, I suppose you could call it, for the mighty crane. Right. Oh, bugger, I forgot to put a grease nipple in there. I had to take it off again and put a grease nipple there. We have pulleys are internally lubricated. Again, I haven't actually put the nipple in, but at least I've drilled and tapped that hole for the nipple, and the grease should run inside and then all over the insides of those pulleys. Look at that, lovely jubbly. Yeah, we've addressed a few problems with the sheet metal works. The winch drum isn't great. I suppose it's on par with the pulleys. A little bit wibbly wobbly still, but good and tough. That should be alright. I think they'll be alright, but obviously, you know, I would like to make things cleaner and tidier. Yeah, not with these necessarily. Just, you know, in future with my my mild steel. I'm you know, I work with aluminium normally, riveting it together, banging it together, nailing it together, you know. And yeah, I really enjoy messing around a mild steel, but I suppose it's not something I've done a huge amount of, and I would have been better off, I think, probably for both of these, you know, using something slightly thicker. You know, perhaps 2 mil rather than 1.5 mil. I don't know, whatever. So, you know, I just need to do more of it, don't I? Either way, then we've got the rollers here off the original. All that. Yeah, I just greased them. They are ever so slightly tight. Well, that one's not, is it? Look at it go. And there's another two at the back there, I'm sure you can see them. And so this whole thing's upside down at the minute. We're not going to put it on the crane yet though, because the most exciting bit is still to come, folks. So you know I like a nice gearbox. There's no way I could make a worm box. Not at the moment. You know, maybe one day. I've got no real desire to go that far. You know, there's worm boxes are fairly easy to come by. This whole girl's like 20 quid off eBay. Yeah, it's definitely okay for the load. But we can't just stick the engine straight on the front of that, can we? So I need a reverse box, and they're not quite so easy to come by, but they're a little bit easier to make. So what I'd like to do, and the next Mighty Crane episode you'll see, is the casting and boring and turning of shafts to amalgamate a little lawnmower gearbox that I have. I'll just take first and reverse out of that little lawnmower gearbox, and we'll build our own aluminium gearbox that also has a mount on it for the engine to go straight onto, and it's going to be amazing. Yeah, I've got some what did I get the other day? In here somewhere. Here's all my bottles of various stuff. Oh no, not there. I got some sodium silicate anyway. Yeah, there we go. Sodium silicate. So what we're going to try and do is sodium silicate sand casting, which I wanted to try for a little while, and this will be a nice opportunity to try it. And we'll do some cast aluminium gearbox case, and then shoehorn the internals from the lawnmower gearbox, or first and reverse from the lawnmower gearbox, into that, and then stick a strimmer engine on the front of it, and that's going to be the motive force. We need a 2-to-1 step down as well, so I've got to look at the ratio of first and reverse, and maybe we'll have to put another drop before or after it, before it goes into this box, and hopefully it will mount up there, and it will look all nice, and it'll be all professional and stuff, and it will look completely out of place on this this horrendous contraption, right? But you know, that's the plan anyway. So that's probably going to take a little while, so we might see some other videos in between that being finished and you know, and now basically. So I want to make a couple of knives, so I'll probably you'll see some knife videos or something before I actually get finished on that gearbox. Yeah, that's it, folks. I mean, kind of feel a little bit bad because you know, it's not like when I built the frame of this thing. You know, you had a nice little shot of me at the end, like, you know, rolling the crane around and that. Like, this is a component that's not yet fitted to the crane. So either way, well, I'm sure you're all sensible chaps, aren't you? You can figure out what's going on here. Anyway, take care, folks. Hope you enjoyed this little adventure, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.